Hey guys, Philip Liebel here with Primitive Wilderness Survival, and today I want to show you how to make a turkey wing bone call. Now, the turkey wing bone call is one of my favorite examples of how nature comes full circle. So we hunt the turkey, we harvest it, and then we can take the bones from that turkey to use to call in more turkeys. So it's a constant cycle of life and death, and nature repeats this cycle over and over and over. And to me, it's no coincidence that things like this just work out perfectly, that the best thing that you can make a turkey call out of is a turkey's wing bone. Like that's no coincidence to me, regardless of your religion, whatever you believe. It's just super fascinating to me that we can find this over and over in nature, that this thing happens all the time. So without any further ado, we're going to jump into it. I'm going to show you how you can take that wing bone from your Thanksgiving dinner and use it to hunt turkeys this spring or even this fall. Okay, so after we have procured our turkey wing bones, the next step is going to be to clean all the meat off. Now, my preferred method would be to eat it all. That's what I'd recommend, but however you want to go about that, if you're not really into turkey, that's fine. But get all that meat off there, and then we're going to take some kind of scraping tool. You can take your knife, the back of your knife, a stone blade like this, and we're just going to start scraping anything that's left on there off. So all that tissue and ligament and fat. Okay, so after I have that cleaned up well enough that I'm happy with it, I'm going to take my stone blade. You can use your knife, you can use a little saw, whatever you want to use, but I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to score around the edge, on the end of both of these. So probably about not quite a ½ inch in from the end. I'm just going to score all the way around that and do the same on this end so that I can break those off. So I'm just going to start sawing back and forth. Slowly rotate that once I get a decent line started. Okay, so once I've scored around the edge of that, it'll break off really easily. So I'm going to do the same thing on this end, and then on my smaller bone here. Okay. Okay, so after we have cut the ends off of both of our bones, the next step is going to be clean this bone marrow out. Again, I recommend eating it. You can just slurp that stuff right out. It's really good for you. These have been in my fridge for probably a little longer than they should have been. I could probably eat that and be fine, but I'll show you another method you can use as well. And that is to take a stick and use that to poke through there. And then you can just blow it out. and get them as clean as I can. So after we have cleaned these up really nicely and we have all the stuff out of the inside where it's pretty clean, I could clean these a little more, but for the sake of this video, it's not too bad. Okay, but next I want to find how these two match up. So the bigger side of the small bone and the smaller side of the big bone will match together, and there's a certain way they'll fit together. So just kind of rotate that around, see how those bones fit the best, and it should be a fairly tight fit. So you kind of slide that in there like so. And in a primitive situation, if we were to find a dead turkey out in the woods, we could just take the bones and do this really quickly and have a call. But with a little bit of extra work and some pine pitch glue, we can make it a whole lot nicer. But at this point, this is usable. But if we glue this together right here, we'll get rid of that kind of airy sound, and we'll have a nicer sounding and a much better looking wing bone call. Alright, so the next step of this is going to be gluing these two together with some pine pitch glue. And for that, we're going to need some fire. So we're going to go ahead and get us a little hand drill fire going here. Alright, a nice big coal. Got our bird nest already prepped here. So I'm just going to heat up this pine pitch glue over the fire. This is basically a primitive hot melt glue. So once you heat it, it becomes soft. It is also flammable. So normally I'll use some coals to heat this up. I'm just going to find an area of the fire that doesn't have a lot of flame going, and you can see this heats up really quickly. I'm going to let it cool just a second, not to burn myself. You can also lick your fingers. And I normally take some of this and make a little Tootsie Roll looking thing And then I'll place that where I want. And then I'll heat that back up so that I can melt it into place. This is doing two things. This is going to help seal off any holes so we get a much better sound without any air escaping. And it's also going to help these two hold together and make it a lot stronger. So I can throw this in my pocket, carry it around with me, and not have to worry about them coming apart. So now that we've made our turkey wing bone call, the next step is going to be to learn to use this thing. Now, the best way is to go spend some time out in the woods, sit still for a long time, do some scouting, you know, find an area where there are some turkeys and just sit there and listen, okay, especially during the spring. And if you get some turkeys come in, just pay attention to what's going on. Watch the hens, see how they're acting, listen to the calls they're making and how the gobblers are reacting to that. Now, if you don't want to do that method, which is probably the best method, but it requires a lot of time out in the woods, which is never a bad thing. But if you don't want to use that method, another thing you can do is just get on YouTube and search turkey hen yelps, cutting, stuff like that. Learn a little bit about how turkeys act during the spring, during their breeding season, but also during the fall. They'll use these calls to locate each other. So during the fall, if you get busted by some turkey hens and they separate, you can actually sit there and do some turkey yelps and call them all back to you because they think that you're one of the turkey hens trying to communicate and gather up the group again. Okay, but check it out. Look up some different, calling sequences. Do some research. But these things sound pretty good. They sound different than the slate calls and the other calls that a lot of hunters use during the spring. So it has a little bit different, more natural sound, and they work pretty well. I've called in some turkeys with them. So we're able to get it done. That first shot hit just above the leg, right in front of the leg up in there. He flew off a little bit, ran, laid up in some trees. He was hurting pretty good. Then got up in there, hit him in the neck with the second one. That put him down. I don't know how much I got on video. Hopefully I got the first shot. I broke my tripod. I have a broken arrow that my phone is tied to right now, so hopefully it works out. But either way, we got our turkey. Now we need to get him gutted, processed, and I think we'll do a video on how to cook these primitively, have a little fun with it. So I'll have to go back and check out the video, all the footage. Haven't had a chance yet. It's been kind of crazy, but we got it done. So be eating good.